Catholics vs. Protestants in Europe. The wars of religion in Europe were a series of conflicts that lasted for almost a century, from the early 16th century to the mid-17th century. These wars were fought between the Catholics and Protestants, two rival factions that sought to exert their influence over Europe. The roots of the conflict between the Catholics and Protestants lie in the religious reformation of the 16th century. The Catholic Church was the dominant organization in Europe at the time, and it wielded great political and economic power. However, in the early 16th century, there was a growing movement of people who questioned the Church's teachings and sought greater religious freedom. This movement, led by Martin Luther, eventually led to the founding of the Protestant Church. The Protestant Church was seen as a threat to the Catholic Church, and the two sides soon became engaged in a bitter struggle for dominance. The conflict was fueled by political tensions, as the Catholic Church was closely tied to the ruling class in many European countries, while the Protestants were seen as a threat to the established order. The wars of religion began in France in the 1560s, where a series of bloody conflicts were fought between the Catholics and the Huguenots, the French Protestants. These conflicts, known as the French Wars of Religion, were marked by a series of massacres and atrocities, culminating in the infamous St. Bartholomew's Day massacre in 1572, in which thousands of Protestants were killed. The conflict then spread to other parts of Europe, as the Protestant movement gained strength and challenged the Catholic Church's dominance. In England, the conflict was marked by the reign of Queen Elizabeth I, who sought to suppress the Catholic Church and establish the Church of England as the dominant religion. This led to the persecution of Catholics, culminating in the torture and execution of several prominent Catholic figures, including Mary, Queen of Scots. The wars of religion also spread to the Holy Roman Empire, where a series of conflicts known as the 30 Years' War were fought between the Catholics and Protestants. This conflict, which lasted from 1618 to 1648, was marked by a series of devastating battles and atrocities, including the sack of Magdeburg in 1631, in which thousands of civilians were killed. The wars of religion came to an end in the mid-17th century, as the two sides gradually came to a truce and agreed to coexist peacefully. However, the conflict left a lasting impact on Europe, as it shattered the unity of the Catholic Church and led to the rise of Protestantism as a major religious force. It also marked the beginning of the era of religious tolerance and freedom, which would eventually lead to the establishment of secular societies and the separation of church and state. In conclusion, the wars of religion were a defining moment in European history, marked by a bitter struggle between the Catholics and Protestants for dominance. The conflict was fueled by religious, political, and economic tensions, and was marked by a series of brutal battles and atrocities. Despite the destructive nature of the wars of religion, they ultimately paved the way for the establishment of religious tolerance and freedom, which are fundamental values in modern Western societies.